let's bring in a Fox News contributor and constitutional scholar and law attorney, Jonathan Turley. Professor Turley, how often do you see a case where a client is charged with failure to pay in 3 years, 16, 17, 18, failure to file in 17, 18, felony tax evasion in 18, 2 felony counts of filing a false return, all open and shut, pretty easy to prove, but reject any sort of plea deal, go to trial, we all think it's about to be litigated, and then bam, you change your plea deal, you change your plea. How often does that happen?
Well, it's not uncommon to see plea deals occur before trials, but in this case, many of us have been writing for months that Hunter Biden was perfectly insane not to plead guilty. Timing is important. You can get a better deal if you plead early rather than late. It's sort of like waiting for the water to reach the deck on the Titanic before you ask about swimming lessons. I mean, it's a little bit late for some of those options. And so he's really has succeeded in putting himself in the worst possible position in terms of a plea. This is the penalty for a lawyer standing in federal court and telling prosecutors, quote, just rip it up. And that's what happened when the judge raised concerns about this sweetheart deal. And a prosecutor admitted they'd never seen a deal like this being offered to a defendant. And the defense basically sort of tipped the table over and said, well, we're not going to cooperate. The Department of Justice later said that they still wanted to get a plea with Hunter, but they blamed the defense for its position. So there's a lack of intelligent design here. I mean, in some ways, you could say, well, this is just a game of chicken. But if it is, they lost. I mean, they by pleading guilty on the eve of the trial, you don't have much to trade away.
So, Professor, here's what's interesting. The incentive structure is for Hunter Biden to plead to guilty and get this plea deal before the trial date. That's the incentive structure. And a normal defendant would have taken that. Maybe a normal defendant whose father wasn't president of the United States. When something is inexplicable, you look for the most rational thing you can conclude. And is he having behind-the-scenes conversations with President Biden, who says, no, I'm not commuting. I'm not pardoning. You better do what's best for your future. I know I'm asking you to speculate, but this is really inexplicable.
Well, this is a very long learning curve, if that's the case, because they were repeating the same defenses that collapsed in Delaware. I mean, this defense that I was a drug user and therefore I did all of these things from gun charges to tax evasion for years really didn't, pass the smell test with jurors. And they were going to have a more difficult time in this case. Like the best chance they had was the gun case in Delaware, which was a limited period of time. In this case, you have Hunter Biden globetrotting around the world, hitting up people for millions and influence peddling, citing his father, even threatening people that his father was sitting next to him. Those tapes, those communications did not look like some junkie on the street trying to score another hit. They looked like a very sophisticated businessman in what may be one of the largest influence peddling schemes in history.
Will this have any bearing on those 3 convictions with the federal gun charges, or is this totally separate, inability to fix those in any way, shape, or form?
Well, this is another problem with waiting too long. He's now convicted person. He's going to go into sentencing with a record. And so that never helps on sentencing. I think that it would be very strange for the Department of Justice, after all of this history, not to seek some jail time. And if they seek jail time, they'll get it, very likely from this judge. So that may ultimately prompt the president to pursue a pardon or commutation. We'll have to see. But the odds at this point favor jail time. They didn't when the Justice Department was still in favor of a plea agreement after it collapsed. So I just fail to see why this defense strategy was enlightened. It does not seem to have worked out particularly well for Hunter Biden.
And if this is an Alford plea, Professor, wouldn't he have to get approval from the highest levels of the Department of Justice? So that would mean Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Yeah, he would. I expect that he would likely get it. How that would play out in the politics of the moment is rather uncertain, as you've noted, and I think you're correct on this. That most people really don't see that nuance. I'm not entirely convinced that if he reserves the right to appeal, he has anything to appeal on. I mean, his defenses were a series of Hail Mary plays that just missed by a mile. And I don't see any real appellate issue here. This tax case is open and shut, which is why back in 2023, I said you truly have to have a legal death wish, not to plead guilty to these charges, because it's the easiest type of case to bring. And as you noted, jurors don't look kindly on very wealthy people not paying their taxes because they pay their taxes.
Professor Turley, thank you very much. What a day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right, we're going to bring in now Fox News legal editor Carrie Urban, who's been with us for all this breaking news for the last plus hour. You know, we're waiting now to see what this is going to turn out like. And you were probably just listening to Jonathan Turley. This was my favorite part of what he said. He must have had a legal death wish to even get this far. Look, time served, which Emily Compagno mentioned, and the money that was spent on this, which Martha hinted at, all the drama that this guy brings to his family, this could have been over in a few minutes had he just said, yeah, I did this thing. Because he ended up saying, yeah, I did this thing.
That's right. High drama. Hunter Biden is at it again. That was my first thought that I had, similar to Martha, when I saw the guilty plea come through the airwaves. But here's the thing. I actually think the drama is going to continue this afternoon, and here's why.
Ooh. The
Department of Justice does not like when things are sprung on them. And according to our producer inside the courtroom, Leo Weiss, who is the lead prosecutor on this case, is saying that he had no idea that this was coming. That does not sit well with DOJ, especially with something that has such high stakes for the department's reputation, because Harris, as I mentioned earlier, you know, they have now become aggressive on this because they have to rehabilitate their reputation after giving him the plea deal of a lifetime that fell apart. So you have a DOJ that wants to redeem itself, and now a DOJ that feels probably like it's being jerked around by Hunter Biden's team, because they have been, let's be honest, for the last year or so. And this Alford plea, they have to agree to. And the Alford plea would be that, you know, he pleads guilty but maintains his innocence. So I am not convinced this is not going to go down without a fight yet. It doesn't mean that we're not going to get there, but you're going to have some frustrated DOJ attorneys in court right now talking to the judge.
Well, what could the fight look like, though? I mean, he says, I'm guilty, and you're right. I mean, with the Alford, I guess it's like tacitly, I'm not guilty, but I'm going to lie and say I am. That doesn't even make sense.
But that's the thing. It's the kind of plea that he's saying that he'll take. And given how the DOJ probably feels they've been treated now, I mean, this is embarrassing for them to go into court, to be prepared for trial, and suddenly for them to say, oh, never mind, we're not doing this anymore. That's actually very embarrassing for the department, in addition to the fact of how they've already messed this case up all along. And so I'm not saying that they won't get there, but I don't think it's just going to be a smooth path for the next few minutes or so. I think this is going to be a back and forth for the next few hours.
I want to bring in John Yu on this. John, if you have a question or something you'd like to add with Carrie, please go free. Talk to her.
Oh, well, Carrie, what possible issues would you appeal? That's a thing that's puzzling to me.
Right.
Is why not just plead guilty and hope to get a good deal? This idea of preserving issues for appeal doesn't really make any sense to me.
Makes no sense at all. And frankly, I have thought all along it was insane not for him to plead guilty at the very beginning. Either you pay your taxes or you don't. It's really that simple. And as Emily mentioned, people hate paying taxes. They hate even more the guy that gets away with not paying those taxes. And you know what they hate even more than that? The guy that gets a get out of jail free card from his dad, who happens to be the president of the United States, because nobody else in America has that. It is like the most unsympathetic situation that one can create, both in the court of public opinion and the court of law. So none of this has made any sense. And so he should have pled guilty the second this happened. But again, as Martha mentioned earlier, he loves the drama.
Can I hog the microphone one more time? This is just tax evasion, right? So isn't it the case that this is not over for Hunter either? Unless he gets a full spectrum pardon, not even a commutation, but a pardon, he could still be investigated for all the other things he's allegedly done too, right?
Well, that's true, but I think the issue there is that I think there's a high possibility that the statute of limitations has run. There was reporting some years ago that he was being investigated by the department for FARA violations for not registering as a foreign agent as he was gallivanting around the world lobbying for foreign countries and not, telling the government that he was doing so. But there's a statute of limitations on that. Unless it continues to be an ongoing situation, like as if he was, in other words, if he was continuing to do that right now for the same company. And so that could have passed, and that is an easy, I think, way that DOJ could have nailed him if they wanted to, and yet it seems that they didn't, which is, also an open question as to why they didn't pursue that.
Yeah, I mean, try to get in the mind of Hunter Biden. Good luck with that. Carrie Urban, thank you so much.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.